real fancy here. I'm in my underwear. I was gonna put some pants on, and I was just like, no, fuck it. Like, it's too late for that. It's 11 p.m. already. This is something that I wanted to record because it kind of gets my thoughts out in the air to where I can think about it and kind of help myself with it. But also, it's really, really good just if you're like socially awkward or like good socially, but not great. And that is basically something that I found when I was like, I would say probably 14, maybe 13 years old. It's something that came natural to me, but then it really took place when I was like 16 years old. I understood what was happening and kind of how it could be used. And more recently, I kind of thought of it like there's this like, I don't know if you want to call it a saying or an adage that basically like your first million is the hardest to make. And then after that, you just keep recycling and repurposing the same formula and doing it over and over and over and over again. And you just keep making more and more money. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. And that was, I realized, just basically how to talk to people. And I found this one avenue that worked with every single person, old, young, busy, non-busy, both genders, and it worked every fucking time. Like, and I was like, wow, this is really something here. Like, this is something I can depend on every single scenario. I always have an out. And it really relieves a lot of social anxiety because a lot of times people get social anxiety, I think not because they have social anxiety, but rather just because they don't actually know what to do in this scenario. And if you're kind of armed with this like plan of like, okay, if everything fails, I do this, or I just do this off the get. I think it's a lot easier to go into social situations knowing that you can trust yourself to not experience that like awkwardness of like, oh, what do I say here? Like, this is fucking weird, you know? And I basically found that I could just keep people talking and talking and talking for hours on end and have these long conversations with anyone, whether they were busy, whether they were tired, whether they were pissed off. And if they were pissed off, I can make them happy. And the reason that's so practical is because people are like, well, what's the benefit of making someone be willing to talk to you for like 2 hours, if you will, or all day? Well, it's like one of these days you might run into someone that is a key important person. Maybe a business owner, maybe someone that has cool connections, right? Maybe someone that is doing something you want to be doing. The list goes on and on and on and on. Maybe someone has information that you need to know. For example, this was something that was practical to me. I met someone that was a flight attendant and I wanted a referral. So I was like, okay, this would be awesome. Maybe you want to become friends with someone. I was like, there's just like infinite scenarios why so being good at socializing is important. There's like all the networking side. Then there's the side of like, it's just fucking enjoyable, So basically how I was doing it is I was given this ability, I was born with it, where I am intensely interested in what someone has to say. Every word they comes out of their mouth, I hang on to. I listen, and I come up with a good response every single time. And that response shows even more and more interest. So someone might say something, and I just start asking questions. I ask questions of what and when. So, what did you do this past weekend? When did you do it? They might say, oh, I went to my son's baseball game. And they might, say da 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 da. And then when I get them talking and I kind of probe, so I probe, like not every single thing you ask a question about, someone is going to be interested in sharing. So this is where we do a little bit of probing. I had this woman just a couple weeks ago. I was asking her, about how her day was going, about how work was going. Super short responses. Good. It's okay. Can't wait for it to be over. Just those kind of things. And someone might infer right off the bat, okay, this person doesn't want to talk. That's not the case, although sometimes it is. That's not the case, though. It's usually you found them talking about a subject that they don't give a fuck about. So I was like, okay, well, she doesn't like work. So what does she like? And I was like, oh, well, a way to figure that out is I can ask her what she did over the weekend, because since the weekend is free, you can do whatever you want with it. And that would be a good way to figure out what she does like. So I was like, oh, what'd you do over the weekend? A 15-minute conversation came out of her mouth about how they all went to Top Golf and played golf with the whole family, and how the kids were in town and it was so nice and the weather was great and they played underneath the fucking things, and it was just such a great time. And then all of this comes into play of, oh, what was that like? Was it hard? So these things that we're asking open-ended questions, not like, do you like red? Like, that's a closed question. A response is just going to be yes or no. Whereas if I ask a question like, why do you like red? Why do you like the color red? Now someone can give me an explanation. Why did you enjoy Top Golf? Well, it was really, really great because my grandson, he tried out for the middle school golf team, and it was awesome to see him get to practice in something he's going to be spending the entire year doing this year. So it was really, really cool. Oh, really? What's your grandson's name? Oh, his name's Jim. Okay. Oh, really? Does Jim play any other sports? Oh, well, he also tries basketball. He likes to do quite a few of the different sports. He tries basketball. He does soccer. Really? What do you think is Jim's favorite sport? Well, he really, really likes basketball because he's really tall and he has a great athletic ability, and he's got a really far stretch in his arm, and his dad actually played too, right? And then so now we're just trying to get out some information that we can work with people on, right? And the entire time we're only asking questions about things that we actually give a fuck about, because that makes it genuine. Right. So although you could do it disingenuinely, I try not to. I try to ask things particularly for my own sake. I'm more interested, so then that makes them more eager to tell me, because then I'm more interested and excited to hear what they have to say, which makes them excited to talk. So it's just kind of this buildup of, excitement and wanting to talk to me. That's what makes people want to talk, is because, one, I'm asking questions, which poses me as an authority figure. And then two, I'm giving them validation by listening to them. So it's a very, very enjoyable process to people to experience this. And that's why they'll stick around for 2 hours. It just depends on how long you want to probe, right? And you can just keep going and going and going and going. And I did this for about, maybe like 2 years or so, before I really, really got into it pretty heavily and realized kind of what was happening. And so then from there, and that's maybe like a 15, 20-minute conversation, you can go dive even deeper. And that's when you ask the why question. So why is family so, like, why was that such an enjoyable experience to you, the weekend of Top Golf? Well, she's going to, tell me something like, she's going to say, oh, my family's really important to me. And I go, that's awesome to hear. It sounds like you have a really, really busy professional career in your work. And not a lot of people your age are able to place that much time and effort into their family. Why are they so important to you? And boom, that's going to knock them on the fucking floor. Right there, that is easily a 30-minute conversation, right? She's going to go in and say something, well, actually, and here's where we get more personable, right? So they feel more comfortable with you. So now they share even more. So they're going to say like, oh, actually, I grew up and my parents weren't that involved in my life, and we grew up kind of a little bit, more humble beginnings where we didn't have a lot of money and we couldn't do things like that. So me and my husband said, when we have, we're going to work pretty hard and we get some money, we're going to take the kids and we're going to do some things and we're going to, experience and spend time with them and make it a more enjoyable life for them. And we just keep going and going and going and going and going and going and going. And we just keep re-fucking cycling this, asking what, when, and why, and how. How did you do that? Why did you do that? And that just keeps going and going and going and going. And we keep it in things that we actually give a fuck about. Because if we give a fuck about it, then we're excited to hear what they say. And because we're excited, they are excited and they feel good. And I thought, wow, this is a really, really cool method. And then this one time I met this really, really hot girl. And I was just talking to her. I was just talking to her and I was loving every single second in it. And she was super attractive. She was super cool. And we ended up having like a 2-hour conversation with, maybe not quite a 2-hour, about an hour and it literally felt like that. It felt like 10 seconds. And afterwards I thought, wow, why did that just happen like that? Because I've talked to a lot of attractive girls and this really didn't happen. What was going on here? And I found that she was my exact type of girl. And you might be like, oh, you were just fucking blinded because she was hot. Well, no, it was because I actually gave a shit about what she was saying. So then I was naturally inclined to be asking more and more questions and be naturally curious and genuinely curious. So it made her more willing to even want to spew out more and more and more thoughts. And it's not like it's this thing that we only do when we're networking, right? Oh, this is the little fucking network tactic where we go and we ask our questions and we be genuinely interested and we put this stick up our fucking ass. No, it's something that is meant to be very, very, it's natural and feel natural, but also have some sort of technique to it too. So we're not just blindly going into these scenarios, right? And I found that I could do that same thing over and over and over and over again. And it would be unlimited how many people I could just talk to and gain on my side. And you might say, well, what is the benefit of having people like you? Isn't that just a very, very narcissistic and just kind of fucking aren't you just too worried about people liking you to try to go out and get everyone to like you? It's not about you being this little people pleaser and just winning everyone over to your team. It is about causing influence and being in control and having power over the situation to assemble and influence a large amount of people to do the things that are morally correct. So you don't want to do this for bad shit, right? Because you can, believe me, you can fucking do it. But if it's a really, really cool girl, right? She's super attractive and you know that you're a good person, why not make her want to talk to you? If it's a really, really cool business owner and you would be a great fit for their company, why not start a conversation that'd be very, very just fucking leave them with their socks blown off their fucking feet. That's how it is. Literally, you can put smiles on these fucking people's faces, make them completely change the mood of their whole day. And they're like, what the fuck just happened? They're like, why? I was only supposed to be running in here to grab a coffee, and then I was supposed to be heading home. I literally just spent an hour talking to this dude. I have no idea who he is. I feel amazing. I don't know anything about him because he didn't talk about himself the entire time, right? Which is super important. When I'm meeting someone new, I never talk about me because people don't give a fuck about you. They only care about themselves, and that's fine. But like, someone asked me about something like me. They're like, "Oh, what have you been up to?" I'll be like, "Oh, I've been working on some projects." So, anyways, what were you saying about that? And I don't let them in on it. And they become increasingly more curious about you. They're like, what is up with this? And then they start like asking people, they're like, hey, who is that? They're like, yeah, I really fucking liked him. Like, he just came up, was super interested in me, talked to me about everything I wanted to talk about, never was selfish and talked about anything he wanted to talk about, made me feel super fucking good. No one does that. No one gives a shit. No one's genuinely interested in me. They just fucking want something from me, right? And it's a very, very, it's a crazy experience for people to experience a lot of times. It is like, I mean, you can really fucking win over a lot of people. It's insane. Like, it is fucking nuts. And I mean, it really goes as far as like, for me now, I'm like used to and bored to the idea that I could make pretty much any human being like me. Like, and it's not about this, like, oh, let's just rally up people so we feel liked and we can have a big ego and feel good about ourselves. No, fuck that. It's more so about building a network that we can influence, that we can give to, right? So I give my time, my energy, and a lot of my emotions into making someone feel really good and feel really validated. And I might do that for like 3-4 fucking hours. And then I might make a request. Hell, I might even fucking carry on a relationship for months and months on ends where they are the only ones benefiting. And then I make a request like 4 months down the road, right? Or I might just do it literally because I want someone to have a good day. I do that all the time. So it's super, super. It's just beneficial. It's easy. It's not only good for other people, but it's good for you. Like today, I was in an awkward social situation where I was starting this new job, and I was walking alone with one of the my coworkers who I didn't know, I'd never met, and instead of just walking in dead fucking silence and saying nothing, we strike up a conversation, get them going. Hey, what are you doing? What's going on in your life right now? Like, well, I'm in school. Okay, cool. What are you in school for? Well, I'm in school for American Studies. Okay, why do you like American Studies? For them it was a little bit different. It was like I think it was like large studies of like psychology and people, and then they were like, well, I happened across it as a major that I wasn't really intending to take. I just tried it out for a semester, a few classes, and I fucking loved it. And then we go into there, and then it's like, okay, da, 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 da. And we want to pull information out so we can get to know them, ask more questions, probe, 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 probe. And it's crazy how fucking powerful it really is. It's super beneficial. It's super beneficial, and it's a great gift to give to people because no one fucking listens anymore. You know what people do? There's this saying, people ask a question just so they can then tell you something, right? So they're like, all right, what'd you do this weekend? And they fucking listen to it. Except they don't listen at all to what you actually fucking said. They just fucking are thinking in their head. They're like, okay, this is what I want to fucking tell them. I want to tell them about my weekend. I had a fucking awesome weekend. I went to the movies. I went out to dinner. I met this cool girl. And yeah, now we're talking now. So basically they just literally ask a fucking question so that they can feel okay about talking your fucking ear off about things they're excited about. And they're not listening to your response whatsoever. So if that's something that what people want to just be listened to, which everyone does, why not give it to them? Like, what the fuck? It's crazy to me. Like, if it's something that people want so damn bad, why not give it to them? Holy shit. Just fucking give it to them. Look at what people actually want. They want to be listened. They want to feel important. They want to feel validated. They're interested in themselves. That's the thing that every single person is interested, universally, no matter what language they speak, no matter what country they're from, no matter whether they're male or female. Every single person has one thing in common, and that's that they are infinitely interested in themselves over anything else. So why the fuck not just give it to them? And once you start doing this, you're going to realize that you can't get people to shut the fuck up, right? So if I get people going, I could literally carry on a 45-minute conversation going, wow, okay, damn, no way. Are you serious? Holy shit. That's fucking crazy. Wow. I could literally do that for 45 minutes. And they would just keep talking and talking. And so you're like, how the fuck do I get them to shut up? Well, eventually, instead of asking those really, really engaging questions, right? Like, why did you do that? What made you want to do that? How, you know, you just slow it down a little bit. Like, be less engaging, be less interested, fade it out, right? So we're not coming from this like high up here to just like, well, see you, bye. It's like we're coming up, we're climbing, and then we're gonna go back down, 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 down. Kind of like a fucking airplane. Like we're taking off, we're gradually climbing altitude, we're staying at altitude, then we're gonna come back down. It's a very, very smooth approach the whole time, and we disengage. So that's the bonus tip. That to get to people to stop, because a lot of times it's like, fuck, I'm gonna be late for this appointment. And I've had that many times. I've had it where like really, really cool, successful people career-wise, I can't get them to stop talking to me. I've had it where I can't get really, really attractive girls to stop talking. I'm like, I've got to fucking like, this is like literally the only time I almost had a speeding ticket. I was talking to these really attractive two girls, and I could not get them to stop talking to me. So, and I was late for a dinner, and I was going 80 and a 55, and this cop was right behind me, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, here we go, I'm fucked. And then he passes me and like darts off on the freeway towards someone else. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, it's an amazing tactic to relieve social anxiety. It's an amazing tactic to build relationships with anyone, especially people of influence, or that are really, really high status. I hope it works. Give it a try.